Hi, everybody. This is Alan Finan, and I am here with Karen Schreiber, who is the account manager, Germany and UK for Travel Manitoba. We're here at Rendezvous Canada, and the whole point is to get our travel advisors who watch this to sell more Canada here on Insider Travel Report. Karen, thank you for talking to us.
Yes, you're welcome. It's a pleasure. Thanks for having me.
So let's first, the very first thing is, where is it? How do we get there too?
Well, Manitoba is really in the heart of Canada. It's one of the prairie provinces, the most eastern prairie province. And you get there through our international hub, Winnipeg. We have an international airport there, so there is direct connection from any other Canadian airport. And also you have direct access from the US. I have to sneak peek here.
And Winnipeg is the southernmost, like it's way down there, isn't it?
Well, it's on the border, just an hour north of the border to the US. Right. And you get there to Winnipeg with daily year-round direct flights from Minneapolis, twice per week direct flights from Los Angeles, and starting in fall this year, 5 times per week direct flights from Atlanta. And then there's also seasonal direct flights from Florida and Las Vegas.
Right now we're going to show everybody your slides as we talk. And we're going to show them a map, and let's talk about those points of interest.
Yes, of course, that's Winnipeg, our provincial capital in the south of the province, a cultural oasis. And then there are a few really great natural areas of interest, like Riding Mountain National Park, northwest of Winnipeg, or we have White Shell Provincial Park, which is in the east on the border to Ontario. There's also Giant Lake Winnipeg in the north of Winnipeg. And then we have a part of the coastline of Hudson Bay in Manitoba, and there sits the small town of Churchill, and we'll hear more about that in a minute.
Yeah. Let's talk about wildlife viewing.
Absolutely, because this is the unique selling point for Manitoba, especially in the north of the province on the coast of Hudson Bay in Churchill. Everything is about subarctic wildlife, above all our polar bears, because Churchill is known as the polar bear capital in the world. There's no other place on earth to have a better chance to see polar bears in the natural habitat.
So now a lot of our travel advisors are selling expedition cruising, which is a good thing too, but this is where you're on land and you have even more access.
Absolutely, because the polar bears, especially in the fall season, the polar bears migrate to the Churchill area to wait for the bay to freeze over again. Every year in fall, there are hundreds of polar bears making their way to the Churchill area. So you can see them on board of a large tundra vehicle in that time of the year, for instance. So you go on a polar bear safari in the tundra on a tundra vehicle.
But you also have beautiful whale watching.
Absolutely. You can see polar bears in the summer, not so many at one spot, but they are around in the summer also. And of course, there are thousands of beluga whales in the Churchill area. They come to this place, to the estuaries of the rivers, Churchill River and Sea River there in July and August to give birth to their young. So there are thousands of beluga whales, and you can go on a boat tour to see them. You can go kayaking, even stand-up paddling, for instance.
And we can see bison?
Bison, but not in Churchill, not on the coast of Hudson Bay. A bison is at home in Riding Mountain National Park, further south. There's a resident bison herd living there, and you can go on your own private bison photo safari in your own vehicle, because the animals live in a certain area of the park, so you really know exactly where to go to view them.
I pulled us south because you had that picture of the bison. It's so great, but now let's go north again because you have the northern lights.
Absolutely. Approximately on 300 nights per year, you can see the northern lights in the
300 out of 365.
Absolutely. Well, it depends on the weather, and there are seasons which are better for northern lights viewing, but especially in winter from January to March, it's the perfect time to see the northern lights. The skies are very dark and clear, but if you're lucky, you can also see them already from the end of summer. So if you have a very good day, you can see northern lights in the night on summer vacation, end of August, but on the day also polar bears and beluga whales.
Right. Yeah. All right, so now the 3 cities that we've singled out. Let's start with Winnipeg.
Yes, Winnipeg is the largest city of the prairies. Almost 800,000 people live there, out of 1.3 million in all of Manitoba. So you see everything is very centralized in Manitoba to Winnipeg. It's a cultural oasis with stunning museums like the Canadian Museum for Human Rights. And pretty new is Kamayuk, which is an inward art center within the Winnipeg Art Gallery. And this is the world's largest collection of contemporary inward art. So really unique. You won't find such a collection anywhere else in the world. They have over 14,000 pieces of inward art in there.
So what are the new attractions at Winnipeg?
Well, brand new is The Leaf, which is part of Canada's Diversity Garden in Assiniboine Park. A little outside the city center. And this is a great project of horticultural. They built the outdoor gardens already some time ago, and they have 6 outdoor gardens around the building there. For instance, an indigenous garden, also a kitchen garden, growing herbs, for instance, for their own caterings. But brand new is their indoor garden in a stunning building called The Leaf. There are 4 biomes inside from different areas of the world, and also Canada's largest indoor waterfall. So this just opened last year in November.
And then we talked about the Winnipeg Art Gallery, and let's talk about the Royal Aviation Museum, please.
Yes, this is pretty new as well. We had it before, but they moved to another greater building close to the airport. And if you're interested in the development of aviation in Canada, Western Canada, Northern Canada, you should really head out to that museum. It has stunning exhibits there as well.
New hotels, the Wyndham.
Yes, there's one brand new hotel, the Wyndham Garden, which is close to the airport as well. And what's so special about it is that it is owned by Indigenous people. It's on Indigenous land, and all the rooms there and also the public areas like the lounge, they are all decorated with Indigenous art. They have a restaurant on site with an Indigenous chef, a little boutique in the lobby where you can buy Indigenous goods and art. So that's really neat and very special in Winnipeg.
Now, moving outside of Winnipeg, the big trend is glamping.
Absolutely. During the pandemic, a few glamping experiences came up. Entrepreneurs who built their geodesic domes for their guests to stay in and have a beautiful view of the area around and just be within nature, but have a comfortable way of accommodation at the same time.
Also, weren't there boats?
Yes, we have the Voyager houseboats, which are close to Whiteshell Provincial Park in the east of the province. They're all hand-built, and you can just board it and then spend a few days on board of that houseboat, just relax, be in your hammock during the day, or use your little kayak that's also on board, and just enjoy the scenery of the Canadian Shields countryside.
Let's talk about the Elkhorn Resort.
This is a beautiful property in Riding Mountain National Park. It has been there for long. They have beautiful rooms and cabins to rent and a pool for the kids, for instance. But they are just building a brand new Nordic spa with saunas and steam rooms. This will be open hopefully during the course of the day, and this will be a great addition, especially for winter experiences when you head out to the nature, go for snowshoeing or fat biking, and come back to your accommodation and have this wonderful spa there.
Right. And let's go north again to New Churchill, and let's talk about the viewing boat up there.
Absolutely. Well, we talked about beluga whales already, and one of the local operators, it's called Lazy Bear Expeditions. They have a brand new touring boat which will be launched this summer. And yes, what's so special about that boat is that they have underwater viewing windows, so you can, during the cruise, you can see the belugas swim by the boat underwater. So this is really unique.
That's great. And let's give out a shout out to Silversea, who is going to be cruising there.
Yes, this is pretty new as well. For the first time on their Arctic cruises, Silversea will stop in Churchill, and they will offer day programs in Churchill, like beluga boat tours or dog karting, for instance. So this is pretty new, and Churchill is very excited about this.
If you want to get to see cloud wolves, how do you do that?
Well, this is another new product. One of the other suppliers, operators in Churchill or in the Churchill area is Churchill Wild, and they operate 3 remote wilderness lodges, fly-in wilderness lodges, and you normally stay there to go on walking safaris to see polar bears. But in their new package, it's not about polar bears, it's about the cloud wolves. In their Nanook Lodge, which is south of Wapusk National Park, there is a resident wolf pack, and they have never been in touch with humans before, so they are not shy, they're not afraid of humans, and you have such good chances to spot the wolves there.
Then finally, let's talk about the Tundra buggies.
Yes, the Tundra buggies are operated by a company called Frontiers North Adventures. The large Tundra vehicles I've been talking about, they're mainly using them for the fall polar bear viewing in the Tundra. And they just launched their first EV Tundra buggy, converted their first vehicle into electric, from diesel to electric, which is great, of course, when it comes to sustainability. And they will convert the whole fleet to electric by the end of the decade.
You're doing us a favor talking to us, because normally you're dealing with the UK and Germany, but who should they be contacting? Our travel advisors, they're getting interested. Who should they talk to?
That would be my colleague Melanie in Winnipeg, and you can reach her at M. Swinarchuk, I'm going to spell that, MSWENARCHUK at travelmanitoba.com. And this is also our URL for the website, www.travelmanitoba.com, and you will find all kind of information on there.
Thank you for talking to us. I hope we attract a lot of travel advisors to sell your product.
Would be wonderful. Thank you very much.
And this is Alan Fine for Insider Travel Report.